Alright, so here we go. Yes, Path of Exile 2 was just updated, and while we've already seen one nerf that I did cover in my previous video, we're seeing yet again another change to one of our favorite classes, and yes, it is another nerf. But beyond that, there have been some other changes done as well through multiple hotfixes, and we're going to go over all that today in this video. But the dev team has also been busy responding to your burning questions as well. Did you see what I did there? And we're going to be taking a look at community concerns about the game. I mean, there is a lot of noise around this one. You have both positives and negatives, and we're diving into all of it. And as always, I'm going to be going over your top comments, so remember, leave a comment down below. It could end up right here in a future video. And if you're new here and you're wanting constant updates about all things Path of Exile 2, don't forget to smack that subscribe button. If you don't, you'll regret it. But anyway, let's get into the official stuff right here. It says we found another skill in an unacceptable balance state. Following the same ideals as earlier, we're also going to be reducing the damage of magnetic salvo in the next hotfix. Note that this isn't the only skill on our radar right now, but we're really just trying to address egregious cases at the moment. We're currently playing alongside you all and are also collating a lot of your feedback that we'll be addressing as much as possible in the upcoming week once the team is back in office before the holidays. Thanks, Exiles. So yeah, this is only the beginning of the changes when it comes to class updates and of course anything regarding nerfs and buffs to skills. We'll see if we get into buffs, by the way, but I'm certain that that will also happen. But if you're wondering about the specifics as to what they did to these skills and how they exactly nerfed them, here it is. It says in Hotfix 8, they reduced the damage of magnetic salvos explosions by approximately 40%, but they also fixed client crashes that could occur when using DirectX 12 renderer. So that is a pretty significant nerf for sure. Let me know how you guys are feeling about that one. But I will say this, don't you dare touch my mercenary. I'm sure it's bound to happen in some way, shape, or form. But man, right now, overall, I am really enjoying the hell out of the mercenary. Let me tell you what, I chose the right class to play. But that wasn't the only nerf they actually committed to here. Previously, they did do an update to the Supercharged Slam. And really important here, they said we will be starting with a heavy damage reduction. So it seems like they have more in mind for this one. But here's exactly what they changed with Supercharged Slam. It says this, reduce the damage of Supercharged Slam by approximately 60% overall at maximum stages. The skill was unfortunately dealing far too much damage than intended given the short channel window required to hit maximum stages. The damage display text of the skill will be incorrect until we later do a client patch. So yeah, there might be a little bit of confusion with the information that you're seeing until we get that actual patch. And they also did some updates to some boss battles here. It says this, reduce the damage of Lightning Cascade in the Ballock, the Skyseer Ultimate boss fight, reduce the damage of ball lightning explosions in the Uxmal, the Beast Lord Ultimate boss fight, and also reduce the lightning runes created from the Stormcaller runes Ultimatum modifier and fix a bug where they could trigger without players standing on them. And they also addressed a bug with the Invokers and Protect Me From Harm Ascendancy passive skill, where invasion rating also granting physical damage reduction was applying to all damage types. So there you have it, some changes there. But yeah, let me know how you guys are feeling so far about these nerfs. Are you disappointed, or you're like, hey, it's all good, I understand? And also a big question, what do you think perhaps should be buffed? I know the game hasn't been out enough probably to really determine that sort of thing, but maybe, just maybe, you guys have an idea of what you would like to see buffed, especially when we're talking about, you know, leveling up earlier on in the game, because I know that there are some skills that some of you guys consider to be a little bit underwhelming and rough. And they did note some other changes that did happen here that you might have missed out on. We have this one right here. Temporarily disable the shielding monsters modifier in Temple of Chaos Gods. Reduce the amount of energy shield monsters gain from the rare modifier extra energy shield. And then they also fixed multiple instant crashes, 2 client crashes, and a pack purchasing problem that could occur on Steam, and more crashes related to the shield wall and skeletal armsist. And they also addressed some progression blockers as well, fixed multiple client crashes, and even a bug where some NPCs could appear in your hideout before they're meant to, and more stuff related to microtransactions crashing the game. And I gotta say, it's super impressive of how many hot fixes they've been able to deploy in such a short time. You can tell they are very, very serious about updating this game. But a little bit of a warning here, you're going to see a slowdown when it comes to hotfixes and updates when we enter more into the holidays and get near Christmas, as the team does need to take a break. So just note that, and then they will get back on it after we get into 2025. I can't believe it's already going to be 2025. How is this possible? But you know what? The team was also busy responding to some questions out on the official Discord that we're going to go over right now, so let's do this. And the first question relates to Demon Form. Check it out right here. Is the Demon Form no weapon issue addressed for early access launch? Trying to decide ascendancy, and the response is not changed for launch, no. So do you guys think that the Demon Form ascendancy should change at all? Sound off. I mean, I thought it looked pretty cool, but I do get some of the concerns, of course. But I can't give an opinion until I try it, so I'm not going to knock it down before I even try something, you know? And what about some rumors? It says rumors are going around that Spectres are disabled in early access. Any confirmation? And the response is as follows. Spectre won't be available at the beginning of early access, has some problems that weren't able to be solved in time. And clearly some people were really bummed about this one. But hey, it's not the end of the world. I'm sure there's going to be some sort of update related to that one, and I will definitely let you know when it is added into the game. And it looks like there's some confusion around the monk. Check it out right here. Okay, so one more question. Does anyone know, for a move like Hand of Cholula, is quarterstaff required or optional? Like, could you be using a crossbow and Hand of Cholula is usable because of the unarmed requirement, or does it require both unarmed and quarterstaff? And the official response is you can be either unarmed or wielding a quarterstaff. If you're wielding a crossbow, neither is true though. And a response here, oh really? Because the quarterstaff is what enables unarmed. Maybe there are other weapon types that would also count as unarmed, like claws. And Grinding Gear Games confirm no, quarterstaff and unarmed are completely separate things. Those skills just happen to work for both. For you Monk mains, let me know how you guys are enjoying him, because I am extremely curious to see how he is faring against the other classes right now. And some newcomers to the game also had some questions about the Atlas map. Check it out right here. How do you know if the Atlas map has a boss in it? And we have a response from Grinding Gear Games saying, in the reveal video, areas with bosses have an icon above the marker on the Atlas indicating this, much like other mechanics. And if you're wondering what that actually looks like, you can check it out right here. So now you know where you can find those bosses on the Atlas map. I'm sure more of your veterans probably already know that, but that one's for newcomers. And yes, the community has been very vocal about what they would like to see changed for the game. And one thing they pointed out is this, I'm sorry, but these type of zone layouts are unacceptable at this point. Every zone is a winding maze of corridors and dead ends. And someone even said, I will never complain about the Val City map ever again. So how are you guys feeling about the map layouts currently? Do you think they need to be adjusted, or should there be a way to get around them easier? And I always found the best dungeon or map designs to be where you explore the dungeon from the beginning and then eventually naturally rotate to the end of a dungeon through some sort of secret pathway and doorway. You know, even games like Skyrim have this, and I find it extremely useful when they do this sort of thing. And it goes to show that the game respects the player's time and ease of use getting around the map. And you gotta limit those dead ends or you're gonna frustrate players. And even more so, since players are struggling to find loot, that can also really compound the problem for sure. Now, I will say what Path of Exile 2 definitely has going for it is a pretty good waypoint system, so that does alleviate some of the pressures of getting across the map and traveling. So it's not like it's all bad news, you know what I mean? But it seems like a good portion of the player base are somewhat frustrated by how some of these layouts are designed, and it feels like you're kind of wasting your time. And there was another discussion that was getting a lot of attention. Check it out. It says, I just don't feel any progress. Day 0 went from 1 to 28 on my witch. Tried some physical skills, but went back to ED real quick anyway. In Path of Exile 1, I just felt my character progressing, you know? That level 8, 10, 12 spike every 3 to 4 level mattered very much because of skills, passives, a bit more AoE. I felt my character getting faster, stronger from the start. But in Path of Exile 2, I just don't feel any progress. From 1 to 28, it just felt like nothing. Mobs died in the same amount of time. I got a bit more health. One aura that gave me 10% wither. I don't know. I will try again tomorrow and hope for the better. Just my 2 cents. And he is playing The Witcher, but I'm wondering how you guys are feeling on other classes. That's what I'm so curious about, if this is more of like a class-specific issue, because honestly, with my mercenary, I am feeling the difference in power as I do unlock more and more abilities. But the game still does feel challenging. It's just not getting easier, I wouldn't say. So that's the big difference. In that way, I'm not feeling like I'm progressing, like I'm just mowing down absolutely everything. Yeah, I do kind of understand how your character isn't exactly feeling like godlike, you know what I mean? But I'm wondering if that is kind of intended. And a response here, that's the main issue for me. I don't mind a slower, more difficult game if I feel rewarded. And it's interesting, whenever I see any type of discussion related to difficulty, how the game is feeling, it always goes into the fact that, hey, we just need really good loot. Yeah, it seems like one of the core issues is definitely a loot issue, so I'm curious to see how Grinding Gear Games tackles this one, if they plan to like change up the loot tables or something like that. We'll see what they have to say. But I also think that they need to keep some of these chase items rare and not just have an overabundance of like super rare loot dropping every 5 seconds that can absolutely destroy the meaning of finding really good loot and lessen that impact. So they got to be careful there with making any adjustments to loot as well. Because on the flip side, I'm seeing some of you saying that you are fine with the fact that loot is super rare and you don't want to be like showered in tons and tons of loot because it would just like bring the meaning of that loot down. But again, you got to let me know how you're feeling about it, because right now, trust me, I'm sure Grinding Gear Games is reading through all the feedback and comments they can get. But remember, Jonathan Rogers and the team will be addressing a lot of these issues that you guys have in the next week or so look out for more updates about that. And now it's time for my favorite part of the video, reading over your top comments. As always, leave a comment down below. It could end up in a future video, but let's see what you guys had to say. We have, please don't lower the difficulty. It makes my brain tingle in a good way when I overcome a challenge. Yeah, I personally am really enjoying the challenge of this game. There's just something about it. It does feel very, I will say, some people probably can't stand that I say this, but it does feel very Souls-like, Elden Ring-like, and I am down for that. And it feels a lot more responsive, like you have to be awake, you know what I mean, than like other ARPGs like Diablo 4, where you can be a little bit more passive and not pay attention as much. In this one, you really do have to pay attention most of the time. And we got another take about what people are considering to be the loot problem. Check it out here. People are so used to getting fed legendaries everywhere. I'm glad it's harder to find stuff. Yeah, it is always that balancing act. If you reward players too much, then the impact of that reward will feel less. And that's where you can also create a whole other problem. So you do have to have some rarity when it comes to those highly sought after items, but still you have to make the adventure rewarding. And some players are just completely unbothered by a lot of the complaints. Check it out here. I'm not even mad. This has been a great 20 hours. My wife is furious. The dog is starving. And I filled 3 piss jugs and gone through a case. Grinding Gear Games deserves every accolade they get. I rolled a Ranger, started with WASD, but I'm now using controller. Psoriatic arthritis, so after an hour my hand and wrist is wrecked, so the option to use a mouse in inventory would be great. I feel like the difficulty is set just right. Some challenges, and deaths, but I'm not playing hardcore, so it's all good. I personally think that this is the best launch I've ever experienced. And you know what? I'm also considering going to controller. I know what you mean, man, because after like hours of playing the game, yeah, it's like my left wrist starts hurting and burning. So yeah, I think I am probably going to try out the controller for sure. But as always, thank you all so much for the love and support, and I love reading over your comments. I hope to read over more in future videos, so stay tuned for that. But thanks for watching, and I will see you all next time. Take care.